Well, I'm excited to be in a position where I can join a great global organization like Falck. I think keeping the best of the traditions that we have in the company and growing the positions we have already, and then being able, over the next 10 years or so, in a world that is opening up for healthcare solutions, to replicate that all over the world, I think is a fantastically meaningful thing for us as an organization to do, and definitely meaningful for me to be part of.
Falck has set up an independent executive management board for the emergency division in order to increase the direct focus on providing ambulance, firefighting, and healthcare services. Emergency is Falck's largest and most international division. In 30 countries worldwide, people can get assistance from Falck rescue officers, nurses, or physicians. On the 1st of January 2015, Jesper joined Falck as CEO of the new independent executive management division.
I'm 46 years of age, the lucky father of 5 children. My wife works as a pathologist at a hospital near Copenhagen, and we live here in the city of Copenhagen, so I can actually walk between work and home. If I should say on a private front what I like to do, I love music. I like to read books. I'm not very good at reading all kinds of literature, but I like to read biographies and history. I love to take a walk, and my weekends, I must admit, I spend a fair bit of time cooking, and I'm not sure the kids enjoy it, but I enjoy it a lot. I've worked 2 places before joining Falck, which is not exactly true, because the first place I worked 25 years with the A.P. Møller Group, and that involved a number of jobs in different countries. And my last job for A.P. Møller was with Svitzer, which is an international towage company and salvage company. So doing a lot of the stuff that Falck does at land, Svitzer does at sea. I did notice in a book I read about Falck that already at inception in 1906, that Sophus Falck mentioned that he wanted Falck to be at shore what Svitzer was at sea. And so I think there are some similarities. If I offhand should say what some of them are, then it is the constant focus on quality, which is one, simply being the best at what we do. Before that in A.P. Møller, I worked in Asia, I worked in Japan, Taiwan, briefly in Vietnam and Cambodia, and then I worked in Pakistan and Nigeria before returning home. And the past 3 years I've worked on a turnaround with the Danish railroads, and then Falck called this summer, and I was keen to take up the challenge. One of my strengths is to be very people-focused on achieving results as a team, and that means getting the right team in place. I think another one is taking complexity and global businesses and kind of crystallizing what is the essence of this business, and then focusing very, very strongly on that. So simplifying what can easily become very, very complex, I think, is another one of the ones I tend to feel that I can contribute to. I can easily be perceived as very opinionated, but in fact I love when people challenge each other respectfully and preferably with a lot of facts. So I have to be very conscious of that I invite a lot of discussion around me, and I'm trying to do that. I'm not very good from a personal view with surprises. I love to handle issues. I'm not shy of crisis, but surprises are very rarely good, privately as well as especially, I think, professionally. Many things, just the sooner we can deal with them, the better. And so I think if the real thing I dislike is probably surprises. I'm not too keen on anecdotal evidence, so I think for me it is very important that we are thousands of colleagues, and so we must insist to a high degree on building our discussions on facts more than anecdotes. From a business point of view, I love to have fact-based discussions about where do we want to take the business, what's the condition, how do we explore the opportunities. And then I like very much to look at decisions from a value point of view. And that's not just value in an economical sense, it's also the values of the company. Are the decisions we are taking in the long run of the interest of the company? And are they consistent with the culture? And I think especially in the case of Falck, that is very important, because one of the real attributes of this company is the strong culture that we have had from the start of the company, and which we've managed for more than 100 years to keep alive in a very real way. I think that is always the first task, to agree as a company how we want this company to have its approach in the marketplace. And I think we've got a very, very strong foundation. The second for me is to make sure we've got the best team there is, and that the team players really are team players, so that we don't have islands of organizations around the world, but that all Falck around the world look at themselves as one team, where we search out for good ideas and we share them in an effective way. And together with the management team, it's my job to find out, how do we do that in our everyday world? How do we tie people so closely together? How do we create an atmosphere where sharing good ideas is what we do every day? And how do we technologically make that happen? And as a team, we will work on making that happen. I think the most important is that we are determined that it has to happen. We've got a very, very clear target. We have to double the business within the next 7 to 10 years. And we also have to improve the margins, which over the past few years have been slipping somewhat. And it is clear that if margins continue to slip, we won't be in a position where we can continue to reinvest in the business and in the very aggressive growth that we have had for the past 10 years. So we will have to look at both at the same time. And I actually think that improving the margins are very, very important to get the freedom to continue rapid growth. But having said that, we are also in the fortunate position that our business is growing organically very strongly. So taking care of the positions we already have is essential for our business, and running them well and then continuing to grow them. So growth will still be high on the agenda, but being true to the businesses we have and being the best at running them is essential for the future of the company. I think the countries we have are very different. Our size in the respective countries is different. The number of competitors are very different. And also the structure of the business. Is it with public government contracts? Is it individual contracts? Very, very different models from country to country. But it is clear that we need to initially focus on the businesses that are not doing as well as others. And we need to find out, what is it that makes our businesses great? How can we take the great results from one business and see if they apply elsewhere? And how do we make sure that the businesses that are currently not doing well, that we raise them? Because that will be essential to the continuous health of the company. I think every company that is big has got to ask itself, are we using our size meaningfully? So are we just getting bigger, or are we truly becoming a great company? And their knowledge sharing is essential if you're on a journey of saying we want to become not just a good company, not just a big company, but we want to be a great company. And I can think of nothing more strong as an asset than thousands of colleagues all over the world whose collective knowledge we can use. I hope we will develop an organization where a good idea in the faraway corner of the world travels with high speed to the rest of the Falck universe, so that we learn from each other and we just take the best practices wherever we have them. I spent 25 years with the A.P. Møller - Mærsk Group, and I definitely hope to spend the next 20 years here with Falck. I think if we during that period of time could show that Falck continued to grow, we grew profitably, we grew sustainably, and the culture and the quality of the company stayed with us throughout those 20 years, then I think I will be happy, look back at Falck with great pleasure, and then I will continue to follow Falck and say that's a good foundation for the next 10, 20 years.